Let me introduce myself briefly. My name is Robin, and I work at the Fédération de la Haute Couture et de la Mode, along with the executive president Pascal Morand, who I'm sure you all know. And together, we've been trying to figure out what the future of fashion may look like. But before we talk about this amazing combination of fashion and technology, let's go back to the 90s to understand where we are now. So in the 90s, three major changes for fashion. The rise of online shopping, who brought forefront, you all know the mastodon Amazon. But far from being small, new players such as Farfetch or Yux YNAP. A few years later, baby sisters and brothers, the social networks, and at the same time, the rise of new business model, the rise of fast fashion, so with Zara and H&M, but also we may include in that lately Nike and Adidas because of the entering of sportswear in high fashion. So these are major changes because they are bringing new demands, new consumer demands for transparency and immediacy. And what is the consequence of that? It's new business model. So now every brand has to face three things. They have to offer an experience over the product. They have to offer faster fashion. And they have to offer sustainable product. Okay, so now let's talk about what fashion tech can bring, what technology can bring as a new tool. So in every technology exhibition, you may read data is the new black, data is the new oil. Indeed, that's true. But the fact is that the human brain only cannot collect data, storage data, and then turn this data into information alone. And so technology is here not to replace human, but to help human being smarter and stronger. And in the big wave of 4.0, there is a small wave rising, the fashion tech movement, and it starts not really with high technology, but with innovation in textile. And we've been speaking about that. So innovation in textiles, I'll try to be very fast. Three changes in textile industry. New fabrics, so it means new fibers from waste, sustainable development. So you have an example of plastic. Every year there is a ton of plastic in our oceans. And now this plastic can be turned into garments. You also have lab-grown new materials. Two examples, Yoncell, Modern Meadow. Modern Meadow is lab-grown leather. Yoncell is a new fabric made from tree. Okay? And with these new fabrics comes new functionalities. So now the textile cannot only cover your body, it can make it warmer. So you have Uniqlo Group who developed the E-Tech range to turn the heat and keep it inside the clothes. But you have also Odo Fabric, who repel everything from water, coffee, sauce, ketchup here. Okay. And then you also have new finishing processes. So one of the major issues for the textile industry has been, of course, dyeing garments. And now there are some new processes. We use bacteria to dye water-free. But you also have new finishing processes to offer on-demand product for each customer. For example, that's in the Levi's flagship store in New York, where they can custom every jean on demand with the laser technology. But of course, these all comes with limits. Today, it's a very high cost for a pretty low demand still. And the quality for some of the fabric, for example, orange fiber, is not the same as the one in cotton fiber. Okay, so innovation in textile, we are talking about what we call technical textile and not smart textile. So now let's talk about smart textile. So the main difference is smart textile needs power to work. So you all know Internet of Things, wearable technology, and I'm sure everyone in this room is already connected with one device. Everyone has a phone, a smartphone. Maybe the more connected of you have a smartwatch. But the future of that, it is relies in the smart clothes. So when you'll go this afternoon to the Wearable Lab, I think you might see the Google X Levi's commuter trucker jacket, where the real innovation is they combine the electrical fibers within the textile fibers. But not only the clothes gets connected with you and the environment. Now, all the production tools are connecting to each other. Within the cutting room or at the sewing floor, the machines can, like, not literally speak, but data are transferred. So the operative can work in a more optimal way. And then in store, for experienced customer, and this is the example of Farfetch, because the founder of Farfetch, José Neves, he told in an interview, in 2025, online shopping will only be 75% of the market, online shopping, 25% of the market share. So the future is physical retail, but not the retail as we know, the retail that includes technology. And in the store of the future, imagine, every rack, every mirror are connected to each other to collect customer data. There are limits, clothing care, and high cost of equipment. So we talked about collecting data. Now let's talk about data storage. We all have today a cloud service, maybe iCloud, Google Drive. But tomorrow it might be the blockchain. The difference between the blockchain and the cloud is, to be very simple, is that when you upload a file, it has to be approved and validated by the other parties who are with you in that blockchain service. And then, when it's uploaded, it's locked. So what does it do? What does it bring for fashion? So for fashion, it means a new anti-counterfeiting, anti-copy system. So counterfeiting in copy is not really the same copy. You have, for example, fast fashion brands taking inspiration from the luxury brands, and counterfeiting is like the same label on the products, but not the same product. So traceability can also help for sustainability. So when you know where your product was, because the problem is that now the supply chain is global, and sometimes your suppliers have suppliers, and their suppliers also have suppliers. So you don't have vision on where your product exactly comes from. So traceability can help for sustainability if you know where and how your product was made. But it also brings everywhere there is traceability, there is a nice story to be told, a journey through clothing. If you can offer your customer a journey from the farm to the store just on a simple app, and then at the end, every customer can just add a personalized touch. For example, when you offer a clothes to your friend, at the end of the chain, you may upload a photo of yourself saying happy birthday or something else. So limits today, because yes, blockchain may help for sustainability, but the problems today is it needs a lot of energy for each transaction of blockchain. High cost and revamp all supply chain, because it's also involved that every supplier adopt this technology. So now you have all this data stored somewhere, but you need someone or something to turn this data into information. So this is where comes the big boss of 4.0, artificial intelligence. So what does artificial intelligence mean for fashion? In fashion, it means 3 different things. First, trend forecasting, support of creation. So trend forecasting and demand forecasting are 2 different domains. I explain. So trend forecasting is before you have designed your collection. For example, you still are the artistic director, and you want to make a collection about the lights, the different light of the days. So you may type on IBM Watson all your keywords, and it will offer you a big database, a database wider than you can ever imagine, because it will link every book, every art pieces together and bring it to you. So this is support of creation. Plus trend forecasting. It will add some information. I think the next season or the season after that, this product may work, okay? Because the artificial intelligence is today not that intelligent. And it's very different from demand forecasting. Demand forecasting, it's after your presentation, after your show. It's, did it work? Am I going to sell? Should I produce more or less? So when you use this app, Launch Metrics or Tagwalk, you will know if people search for your brand. And if they search for your brand, which article they search for. And then you can adapt your production. So no more waste, and you lower your cost. And at the end of the value chain, on the personalization of customer experience, all these data can benefit to the customer themselves. So we have 2 examples. Here, of course, the chatbot. You all know there are plenty of chatbots on Facebook Messenger. And for example, at the Federation, we receive a lot of email for the accreditation for Paris Fashion Week. And every time, people ask the same question. It's the same for a brand. What is this size? Is it oversized? Is it slim? If you have a chatbot who can answer simply to this question and redirect the customer, it will improve your sale. And then EcoLook, produced and developed by Amazon, a personal stylist. So this is a stylist Alexa. This device takes picture of you and tell you if you are well dressed according to the AI. So still some limits, no common sense, because the artificial intelligence can only learn from the past, and if the past data are flawed, so the artificial intelligence information will be flawed. Now, so we talked about, I like to differentiate mind and body, and so we talked about the mind. Now let's talk about the body, about the hardware. Automation and 3D printing. In aerospace engineering, they say that cable automation is a real challenge for their industry. But they also say that sewing 2 pieces of soft material is 1,000 times harder to manage. But some did, not for high fashion, but you can still do things. So first, in the US, both example, software automation funded by the American government in that because they wanted to reshore the production of American t-shirt for the army. And so they produced that, software automation. It's a robot with 1,000 of camera, and it analyzes the position of the fabric every second to move it. And another entrepreneur in the US, Jonathan Zorno, he realized that the difficulty for the robot was to handle the soft material. So he decided to make it hard. So he's taking the fabric in some kind of liquid, and then it's hard, and the materials can be handled the same way as a car door in a production area. 3D printing. So we all heard about 3D printing. The major shift for fashion, I think 3D printing is today to enhance creativity, to open new ways of creation. But still we have problem with soft materials. And then support shop assistant with all the logistics robots and the drones. So it has the same impact for every industry to free the shop assistant from the hard and repetitive labor. But fun fact in fashion, 2 seasons ago, Dolce & Gabbana used these drones to not walk, but this time to fly the runway to showcase their handbags. Augmented and virtual reality. So 3 major changes once again. Computer-aided design. It exists today. Many designers are working on 3D softwares, but now it can also help in virtual reality for digital prototyping. So very often prototypes are very costly for brands because it's a long conversation, let's say that, between the studio and the workshop. And sometimes for only one clothes, there are more than 50 or 100 prototypes. So if you can have it in a real size, in a digital format, you can just send it and then make your correction every time. So augmented and virtual reality, this is an immersive brand experience for new ways of communicating the brand. Dior already launched his VR helmet. So to showcase a fragrance line, but also that's very interesting about the future. And who knows who is this girl? Who knows? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 person. So this is one of the most famous influencer on Instagram, with 2 million followers. But she is not real. She is not real. And she's been designed on a computer. And Balmain did the same thing for his latest campaign with 3 digital models. So very interesting. Another step towards digital retail. Once again, technology blurs the lines between physical and digital. And for example, you can try at home without ordering the pieces directly on your smartphone with some kind of filter. It already exists for the cosmetics and in store also. So I'll finish just on that. How to embrace fashion tech through education, through collaboration. But first, and this is our main point at the Federation, fashion tech is a shift of mindset. The technology is here. Sorry. The technology is here. It's now. and it's ready. And new technology is not the enemy, it only brings new tools, which combine with craftsmanship, operative efficiency, so low, mid, and high tech, all together to enhance creativity, optimize production, and to improve customer experience. Thank you.